Just give us the brief details on why this is a true insight into what's coming next.
Well, a series of hurricanes passed through southern Florida in 2005. Trump famously has a resort there, Mar-a-Lago. He filed and received about $18.3 million in insurance proceeds, a very small portion of which looked like it went back into Mar-a-Lago itself. He was asked about this under oath with my attorneys during some litigation we had, and he couldn't actually say whether or not the property had been damaged. And other reporters who went there subsequently to look at the property said there were no signs of real damage. So the question was, what were the insurance proceeds for? That's a lot of money that came into his pocket that appeared to be used for something other than repairing Mar-a-Lago.
So the reason this is important is, well, obviously, first of all, the president said he, hadn't reviewed any of this and didn't know much about it. And it turns out that...
And under Florida law, he might have been, allowed to handle the money that way.
Exactly. But these 81 letters that were sent by the House Judiciary Committee just span, such huge variety of Trump's business dealings, his organization, his business partners, the White House, federal prosecutors. This is where the focus is turning to now from Mueller.
It is because, and in part, some of the letters that went out from the Judiciary Committee on Monday were spawned by Michael Cohen's testimony last week in Congress, in which he named different people in the Trump organization and elsewhere who had knowledge of possible financial misdealings, which of course is what the Judiciary Committee's after. But they're also after some of the records that have already been turned over to Bob Mueller. And I think this moment that we're in right now is some of the gravity from the Mueller investigation is now transferring over to Congress and to the Southern District of New York. Bob Mueller's investigation may end up being just a probe of collusion and obstruction of justice, and he might have been hiving off some of the financial issues that other people have wondered about to other jurisdictions.
Now, Republicans are watching Mueller's report with an eagle eye, right? But the Democrats are sort of taking the position, as far as I can gather, that perhaps there isn't really anything that they can glean directly from the report, and certainly not immediately if all of this is blocked. And so there is no route there, so they're looking elsewhere.
Well, I think there's a lot of wish fulfillment going on both sides, the left and the right, around the Mueller report. The left would like it to be highly critical. Conservatives would like it to exonerate the president. No one really knows what's going to be in this document until it gets released. Bob Mueller and his team obviously know what's in there, but that's going to go to the Attorney General first, who then gets to decide how much of it should be released. And it would probably be good for the Republic for the whole thing to get released so people can make their own decision about what's in there. But until we see that, no one really knows. Right.
Now, as regards impeachment proceedings, does anybody really want that at this point? And if there's nothing in there that might suggest that that's a valid path forward, then what is the next step for Democrats, for Nancy Pelosi?
Well, I mean, there's certainly constituencies who want impeachment. There's some who think it would be problematic. I think the issue that's being tested here is, should either party insert itself into the vote, into an election, and turn that election over against the will of the voters? I think both parties probably in an ideal world would want to see this thing go to 2020 and have voters weigh in that way. The problem is there are facts emerging in between now and then about the president's conduct in office that are raising legitimate concerns about his suitability.